How many of you right now are paying for a subscription that you don't use and just keep forgetting to cancel? Most households have monthly expenses that they don't want and still pay for all of the reasons. Forget to cancel it, too busy. It's not that big of a drain for them to bother, or maybe they'll use it in a couple of months. There are even companies out there that sell the service of scraping all of your accounts and canceling subscriptions. Now take that and blow it up to a country. Is it possible that there may be one or two subscriptions that we don't need that we could cut completely? When we talk about balancing the budget, there are so many things on this table that are misutilized or just should not be utilized that are still being covered because we keep talking about Social Security and vets. No matter what, both the left and the right are going to use those two people because Americans are fairly loving people. We care about our old people. We care about our vets. We don't actually do anything about it. We just care and promote taxes. But we do feel like we care. For me personally, I have always been against the government spending on science. Two primary reasons. Brain drain. I don't want the government owning all of our geniuses. If you're young and you're found with autism and a high IQ, I assure you, the military's coming for you. Good luck making it to high school. It's just super rare. And I don't like our government owning our intelligence. I think our intelligence is better used in the free market. I think the world would be a better place if that intelligence was in the free market. The government doesn't want that. Brain drain. Secondarily, the experiments that they run are a complete waste of money. No business would run these tests for the results. And here's the big thing. It's never science. It's always behavioral studies, either people or animals. I am not interested in funding our government's research into how to control us better. It's as simple as that. And although Rand Paul has to have an R below his name, he is truly a libertarian, and he really shows that there's just so much spending. Let me stop wasting your time and let Senator Paul take it over.
Republicans point at Democrats and say, we don't like your programs, let's cut your programs. Democrats look at Republicans and say, no, don't cut our programs, cut yours. Everybody's, don't cut mine, cut yours. That's why I've taken the approach and continue to take the approach, we should cut everything across the board. Take 1% of everybody's budget. And what would that bring about? It would bring about more conservation of the dollar. It would bring about more restraint and more reform. I'll end with this. People say, where would you cut? I would say everywhere. But I can give you, on the tip of my hand, ridiculous stuff that should have 100% cut, but is never cut and goes on and on. In the early 1970s, William Proxmire, a conservative Democrat, pointed out that the National Science Foundation was spending $50,000 to study what makes people fall in love. Now, that's a better, I think, topic for Cosmopolitan magazine than it is for a government study. Nowadays, it's gone up. We spent $1 million having young people take selfies of themselves while smiling, and then looking at it later in the day to see if looking at pictures of yourself smiling makes you a happier person. That cost you $1 million. We spent $1.5 million studying the mating call of the Panamanian frog to see if the mating call of the country frogs was different than the city frogs. We spent nearly $1 million studying the Japanese quail to see if they're more sexually promiscuous when they're on cocaine. I think we could have just polled the audience on that one. This is the kind of ridiculous stuff, but does it get better? I complain about this every year and all the time, and everybody shakes their head and says, no way, why are we doing that? The National Science Foundation, we increased their budget 50% last year. People said, oh, we have to compete with China, so let's give the National Science Foundation more money. We've almost increased their budget by 50%. The people are studying why you go on dates, why you're happy, why the male frogs, what their mating call is. This is the craziness, but it never gets better because we always spend more money. So my amendment would do this. My amendment would reduce the spending in real terms. We'd actually spend less money next year than last year. It'd be a 5% reduction in money, and you'd spend less each year, and over 5 years you'd balance your budget, and then we'd be on course to balance. People say, why not? Who can do this? Half of Europe does it. Sweden balances their budget. Germany balances their budget. Over half of the countries of Europe run an annual balanced budget. Our profligacy and our spending is catching up to us. I say we act now.
This is why it kills me when people think the Freedom Caucus is crazy. You need to know that when someone talks about a percentage increase of budget, they're talking about from last year. That means no matter how much it increased previously, it is starting at baseline 0 and it is increasing by a percentage, or we're now cutting money. In real terms, using easy numbers, if I gave you a budget of $100 this year and then we increased it by 50%, so next year it's $150. If the year after that we decide to decrease it by 15%, it's very easy for you to claim that I'm trying to destroy everything by cutting your budget. But in real terms, you lost $15. Senator McCarthy was looking for a total 5% reduction. And they said it would shut down the government. They said Social Security checks wouldn't be paid. That is fear-mongering at the highest level, to force people to think that they're truly hurting people, when it's very clear that we could easily cut 1% from every single department. And then finally, our government would finally use their resourcefulness rather than our resources. I hope you learned something. I'm Tristan with Radically Rational Radio. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode. Stay resilient.